Hi all, welcome back to more Labyrinth, playing the extended campaign solo. Uh, this is part 27, or is it 26? 27 I think, whatever it says in the header. And I suppose, I don't know if I should just carry on numbering it this way. Yeah, I think I will. I think I'll just carry on doing numbers because that has us moved into the awakening side of things now. So I suppose I could have given it a different title, but I don't think so. It's still part of the extended campaign. So still the same day. I'm hoping to get a part done. I've got half of my duties done. Another one was to take the dogs out, but I was going to do that first, but it's then started chucking it down with rain. So it looks like it's brightening up a bit in the house. So we'll get this started and maybe finish before I go out with the dogs, and then might get another, but I should get another chance later on. Okay, so we left things at an interesting point in the game with the jihadist second card play, which was the first card of the awakening. Now, hopefully I've done these in the right order, and these shouldn't be above these. And I mean, I'm only going by what the rules says. I did ponder on turning it over, changing it over, but we've done it this way, and it looks like it might be benefiting me because this card was played, and it allowed us. It was play if the US soft, which we are, and it allowed us to go and select, reveal, and draw a card from the discard pile. And remember, it does state within the campaign game that all the discards from the previous decks are available to you. Now, this card also insists that if Obama Doctrine is within the discard pile, that it must be the card that you select. Well, it wasn't there because there's no discards. There was no cards in the discard pile of the Awakening side of things. So, what card do you think I went and got? Some of you following are pretty keyed up on things here, and would probably know, maybe not the name of the card, but know maybe what I might be wanting to look for. Basically, I had access to, I want to say 95% of the cards. There was a dozen or so being removed from the game. There's also a few still in our hands. So, but I found a really interesting choice that's going to stave things off. Although I don't know if it's going to. I think I might get through the turn and see. So what? One thing before I look at the cards that the ones that I sort of looked at. But there's one in particular. There's one card in particular. I'd be curious to know if any knew what it was that I might have been going to look for in the position that I'm in. We have two. They've got two countries under Islamist rule, so they're sitting with 5 points. They've got 4 cells in Iraq. There's one left on the track. Remember, they can travel as well if there wasn't that cell on the track. But their next turn, all they need to do is get one more cell in there. Major jihad, and then the game's over. They've got 3, 6, 8 points, and they only need 6. So that's the situation. I'll leave it there with you if you want to have a wee think about it before you actually see the card, and then you can maybe pause it here and see what card it is I've came across that looks like it sort of might get me out of the hole. Maybe probably temporarily, but it'll let me survive a little bit longer, I think. Well, first of all, one thing, while I was looking through the cards, now, we played the weak card in the last, I'm not sure it was the last part, the part before, in the hope that it might shove us to hard, so that then we could carry out a regime change in either Egypt or Pakistan. We even sent a couple of troops back to the track in the hope that when we got there, we would be able to then deploy the 6 troops to carry out the regime change. However, part of that sequestration event was to take 3 troops off the track and put them off map. So that's scuppered that bit a little bit. Although, they say as long as we've got... What was it again? As long as there's a 3 resource country that's at Islamist rule, when we go to draw new hands, their troops will go back to the track. And Egypt qualifies for that. Pakistan doesn't, but Egypt does. It's got 3 resources. So as long as that, and of course Iraq would be 3 resources as well, and it's not quite Islamist rule yet, but that's what we're worried about and trying to avoid. So there's that. But there's my hand, and then I thought, well, whatever card I do go and get, if I can't find anything brilliant, I could at least find a 3 ops card and do a reassessment with this. I mean, this is horrible, but what choice do I have? I mean, I've got 2 ops in reserves as well, which I need to remember. But remember, for reassessment, you can't use ops out reserves either. It needs to be 2 3 ops cards. So go and find a 3 ops card, do a reassessment for my next turn, my next phase. Next again phase, I've got 2 ops in reserve. Use one of these cards to get 3 ops to do a regime change. But remember, the troops aren't back on the track yet. So that doesn't work until I can get my troops back. So either that, or I'd have to probably deploy these troops back to the track, which I'm reluctant to do as well. I want them left there, to be honest, because Somalia is quite a priority for them too, with being Bouazizi's regime and whatever, and having a cell there. So anyway, but it was a thought, and I thought, well, it's something at least. But I was hopeful that I might find a card. So here we go. So cards that I came across that were of interest. There was some other ones I was going to leave out, but it was starting to get a bit like too many cards, you know. Cards that I came across, these don't help me survive with the situation in Iraq. But that is play if you can select an adversary country on a roll 46, shift it to neutral. It could help, because we could attempt it in here again, get it to neutral, then we've got access to the country. We can attempt a war of ideas, get it to ally, put some troops in there. But you can see all that's going to be too slow, I think, you know. So I don't think that, it's a good card to go and get, but I don't think that's a card I would have picked. Well, I'll show you the card that I'm going to pick eventually. So, and like I say, use clever ones out there. I probably worked it out, but this is play if you is soft, and you have another card of exact value as an adversary's resources. You may discard the card to shift the adversary to neutral and place 1 aid there. That seems really good, and I've obviously not come across that card. Mind you, it needs to be US needs to be soft, which we are. And if I had a 3 value card, I could then discard the card and shift an adversary to neutral and place 1 aid there. So, in actual fact, is that not better than covert action? Well, it is, Grant, yeah, because you haven't used 2 cards for this. Covert action's a die roll, though, so in fact, we already tried this die roll and it failed. Whereas back channel would allow us to, 3 resources, to discard martyrdom operation. Yeah, and that wouldn't even trigger this event. So we play this, and then we have another card with exact value as Iraq's resources, which is 3, and we get to just discard this. And then you discard the card to shift the adversary to neutral and place 1 aid there. So that's doing that and placing an aid in there, helping us even more to do a war of ideas to ally to then get our troops. Again, it's probably not quick enough, because remember, they've got 3 cards now. They've got 3 cards in their hand still, and they get to play first in the next turn. So you're looking at 5 cards to go by. What's the chances of them not being able to... If we do that, what's the chances of them not being able to get a cell in there and try a major jihad before we get the chance to do this, put troops in, blah, 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 you know? So, don't get me wrong, if there wasn't a better card, that looks like it would be top of the list right now. It certainly beats covert action, doesn't it? I believe. So what else have we got? Again, just to go through quickly the ones that I came across. This, I just thought I'd browse over it, because right now, if it had been Somalia or Sudan that were under Islamist rule, this would have got us out of the hole. because play of Somalia Sudan is under Islamist rule set to poor neutral. Unfortunately, it's not one of the countries, but I just thought I'd pass that card and have a look at it. Other one, mass turnout. Play if there is regime change country, improve its governance one level. It doesn't help with what we're trying to do, but it would have improved Central Asia to fair and possibly allowed us to do stuff in there. But come on, it's not as important as trying to deal with Iraq or the situation with them having 5 resources, shall we say, and very close to getting another 3. Iraqi WMD. Play us you have hard. Well, I'm not hard, but I must have had a reason to set this card aside. An Iraq adversary, which it is. So if we're able to go hard, use this or later card for regime change in Iraq at any governance. Well, that doesn't help us. So I'm not quite sure why you brought that one out, Grant, because if that goes to Islamist rule, the game's over. Or, well, technically, I know I'm talking about just playing on or playing with that optional variant, shall we say, but that isn't really optional when you're playing solo, but I'm just trying to create a way to carry the game on. So that's not really of any use. Right, and then the next 2 were just maybe sort of speed bumps, and the fact that we could remove ourselves from Iraq. This one is, if you just play remove ourselves from Shia mixed country within 3 countries of Lebanon. So Lebanon's there. We could remove ourselves from Iraq with that one. And the other one was Predator, remove ourselves from a Muslim country, not Iran. That's just knocking them down to 3 cells. Okay, but the winner should be, do you know what it is? Right, Musharraf. Play if Pakistan has any cells. It does indeed. It's got 6 cells. Remove 1 cell from Pakistan. Set it to poor ally. And it's blocked by Benazir Bhutto. Benazir Bhutto's not in play. That removes Islamist rule and sets it to poor ally, just like that. And I did double check on BGG in the forum. I mean, that's what it says on the card. So, but I suppose if you folk were thinking that seems crazy to be able to do it like that, it's similar to the one where Sudan and Somalia you could set it as well. So unfortunately, while I was away thinking about it all, I mean, I still think I take that card. So I'm putting these back into this card pile. I've got Musharraf here just hanging around. Because while I was away thinking of it, I thought, right, that removes a cell. That turns that to poor ally. Right? Now, what happens on their next turn? Well, a major jihad success is possible here because I've got 5 cells. Can I do... Yeah, what you could do, Grant, is do a disrupt operation as your second card play. Well, I mean, it's still a problem because they're going to have 2 countries at poor that are sort of got cells in them that are wanting to get the 5th cell in there. Well, right away, like, if that's all I can do this turn, then they're just going to do a major jihad attempt next turn. Well, no, okay, if they draw an event, they'll carry out the event, but remember they get 2 cards. So the likelihood is, I've no reserves up there as well though, Grant, so it does need to be a 2-ops card that they would need to draw. But it's quite likely that they might get that, and then, so, as long as it's not a playable non-US event, then they're going to, and a major jihad success is as poor as possible in Pakistan. Because it's just a poor country with 5 more cells and troops then. So, however, it's still a way out, and I think I have to take this card, don't I? Because I remember I've got two reserves. Yeah, that works. Apart from I'm either going to have to play Tora Bora for the ops or the Vieira de Mello, and that's going to trigger, which is a bit annoying. Okay, yeah, I'm taking this card from Sequestration. That's a card I've picked out the discard pile. Like I say, there wasn't, Obama Doctrine wasn't there, so that's the card I'm picking. Okay, so now I've got 4 cards in hand, they've got 3. That is the end of their turn. Both these cards were played for event. They were, because this is the one that drew them the 2 cards and set things off. So this gets removed into the old base game removed card pile. This would go into a new Awakening removed pile, which will go up the back there. However, I'm going to keep this card around just to remind me about this. I want to say, yeah, I should remember the first bit, but there's other conditions that might send the troops back. So I'm just going to keep the card out here just now. I've done that with, I've got Abu Sayyaf lying there as well, just as a reminder. I'm just going to chuck it in there. It's not covering anything, and it's close to the troops off map box thing. Right, that was their turn done. So it's our turn. Okay, so yeah, I'm a little bit frustrated. I mean, I don't think I can take this chance, but Tora Bora play with at least 2 cells in regime change country. There's exactly 2 cells in a regime change country in Central Asia. Remove the 2 cells, roll prestige, draw a card, right? Remove the 2 cells, roll prestige. That's Hermas. Probably not what I want to do right now. My prestige is at 5. It knocked down. It went down there again last turn, didn't it? Did we not have it at 7, in fact? So more likely it's going to go down into the low than go up. But you never know. And then draw a card. Well, that's sometimes good, sometimes bad. It then means that there's no cells in there. And then what I could do is then use this and the 2 reserves for my second card play, and this won't trigger, for 3 ops. To do something. I'm not sure what, to be honest. Is there... Why don't you just do no, I can't. Oh yeah, you can, because it's ally. Sorry, this... No, hang on. This is still like this just now, Grant. Yeah. You don't get to do that until you play the card. It was adversary, wasn't it? Oh no, sorry, it's not even poor. It's a Islamist rule, right? Okay, and that's the whole point of it, right? Yeah. So if I'd done what I said there, I would have 3 ops to play with right now. But nothing in the 3 ops is going to... Because if they then just go draw 2 cards, recruit, major jihad, game's over. So I can't do that. I can't... I mean, I know I've said that I'm probably just going to continue the game and play with this optional rule, you know? But I'd rather... if we had a chance to stop that from happening, we should take it. Jared the Mel Swain, what does it do? Gives us -1 prestige. And it blocks UN nation building. I don't know if there's a UN nation building in the new deck or not. It might well be. It sounds like a card that might be repeated. So maybe it's not huge. -1 to my prestige. And to be honest, I could still consider doing Tora Bora anyway. Maybe. Probably keep Martyrdom Operation to discard at the end, and yeah. Okay, so... there's no troops there though. You're not going to get a prestige boost. Well, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, okay, right. I've got to do this. I have to. Right, so I'm going to play this. And that'll be for the event, won't it? Yeah. Yeah, and the condition for playing it is the very first sentence. It's in the grey. It says play if Pakistan has any cells. Pakistan's got 6 cells. Right, stretching over there at a strange angle. It goes on to the next sort of column. So, Musharraf, 2001 to 2008. Pakistani president and military strongman Pervez Musharraf, after 9/11, turned his country to alliance with the US war on terror, dropping open ties to the Taliban and supporting Operation Enduring Freedom. His new foreign policy required going against anti-US feelings and some Islamist leanings in the country, and he increasingly relied on means viewed as extra constitutional to cling to rule in the face of overwhelming popular opposition. Sorry, it's a stretch up there for me, my eyes anyway. Okay, so Musharraf, Pakistani president, walks a fine line. Well, I'm glad he was in the discard pile. So play if Pakistan has any cells, it does. Remove oneself from Pakistan, set it to poor ally. This event would be blocked by Benazir Bhutto. She is not in play. So remove oneself from Pakistan, set it to poor ally. So excellent. We remove oneself from Pakistan, goes back to the track. We set Pakistan to... Oh, I've just realised the obvious. Stop. Yeah, I'm sure you noticed what I didn't. Iraq's 3 resources, Egypt's 3 resources. That's still a win for them. Oh man. Okay, hold on. Yeah. That's annoying. Now hold on here. I know this is looking ahead into an area that maybe might be a bit gamey, but let's just look. If Pakistan is poor ally and has, well, I want to say 3 cells, because, yeah, there's no point in having it as 5 cells. So, if that's the situation with Pakistan and Iraq's got 4 cells at poor adversary, what's the priority going to be? Remember, Pakistan doesn't have his arsenal anymore. So, yeah. So, if they drew an unplayable event, a major jihad success at poor possible wouldn't be, unless, of course, I'll leave the situation like that, then it would be. Which sort of might buy me a little bit of time, because then they do a major jihad in there. But is that not silly, Grant? Let's just, okay, so let's say there's not a major jihad possible. Funding tight, no. Selling good or fair, no. No, poor Muslim wanting 4 more cells and troops, yes. So you've got between Iraq and Pakistan. Is there anything adjacent? No. There's no cells adjacent to them to travel, so no. Funding moderate, no. Cell available recruit, well, there'll be 4 cells available if I put the A3 back. So, but yeah, so where would they recruit though? Would it be, if it was Pakistan, then... So poor Muslim wanted 4 more cells, that they both qualify. If recruit, auto-recruit. Now, this best jihad DRM kicks in now as well, but remember, it's only based on awakening, and we've got one here you can see, and reaction markers. We will be looking more into that. So at this point, between Iraq and Pakistan, none of them's beating that. So we move on. And remember, no, stop. Yeah, I almost done it again. Look, we don't even look here. Is there a poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells? than troops and militia, where jihad success is possible. This is also based, now comes into play, because down here it tells you, what does it tell you? Jihad success possible. It says, this is true if the current awakening/reaction marker count is such that any future jihad roll there could succeed the marker count did not change. There's no markers in either of them anyway, but right now, if one of them maybe had awakening markers in it, it wouldn't be feasible. So yeah, we don't move into this next box because we've got multiples here. So we come to here, recruit. Not Islamist rule. Pakistan unless no arsenal. Well, it's not got an arsenal anymore. Baziz regime, neither of them are. Syria, and what are we trying to pick? Between Iraq and Pakistan, right? That one doesn't apply even though we're onto that. Expansion. Iran unless no arsenal. No, Iraq and Pakistan. So no. US, no. Poorer than fair than good. They're both poor. Highest resource. Of course. It was clearly going to come down to that. You all knew that, didn't you? Man. I can't seem to get a break here. I thought we had a break. I thought we were getting an out to at least move us on. So it doesn't matter what we do here. It's still going to recruit into Iraq, and if it can't recruit, well, it's going to be able to recruit. There's one cell on the track. And remember, if it gets down to it and it can't recruit, it's going to travel cells. So it's going to travel a cell there to get 5. Yes, it still has to roll dice and get a 3 or less to recruit the cells. Yeah. I mean, the more cells you put back in the track, these or that bit might get as well. But what can I do? I've got to do something. I can't sit here and twiddle my thumbs, can I? So, is there a better play then than doing that? I don't know. It feels like that's not really helping me, Musharraf, after all. What were the other cards that I put back? Right. Well, Predator, Hezbollah were removing a cell. You know, nothing's changed here. I can go back if I want. I'm fine with doing things like that, whether you think it's a bit off. I'm going back to look at the possibility of picking a different card than Musharraf. They just remove one cell, Predator and Hezbollah, which takes one cell out of Iraq and puts it back on the track. So it's a sort of slight speed bump that might not really help. Play FUS hard. Well, here's the other thing. We can go and get this 3 ops card and do the reassessment. So Iraqi WMD, that's play if US hard, so that doesn't help us. Mass turnout, play if there's a regime change country, improve its governance. Yeah, it's good, but it doesn't help us. That doesn't help us. Back channel, I want to say, was probably the next best in line. Play if US soft and you have another card or exact value as an adversary's resources, you may discard the card, shift the adversary to neutral and place 1 aid there. We could do that in Iraq. Discard and martyrdom operation as well. So that would be 1 card play. And we'd be sitting like that. And our second card play, remember there'd be an aid marker in there as well, could be a war of ideas in Iraq, because it's at neutral now. Let's just say we succeed at that. then that's our 2-card plays. Yeah, so they get a turn now. And, well, they can just as easily recruit and do a major jihad, and then it's game over. However, if they don't get lucky with that, if they happen to fail the recruit rolls or get poor cards or get events, our next play could be, we're still going to have 2 cards. No, hang on. No, you're not going to have 2 cards on the left, Grant. You're going to have 1 card left, aren't you? And it's only going to be 2 ops. Is that right? Am I working this out right? I think I'm just looking at my cards, and this is, if I took this instead of Musharraf, play this, would be discarding that. That'd be my first card play to put this to neutral. My second card play would have to be 3 ops to do a War of Ideas. To take that to ally, I can use my 2 reserves and this card, which is going to trigger as well, hit my prestige for 1. Let's just say we succeed with the War of Ideas though, and we put it to ally. We have 4 troops on the track. I've only got 1 card left in my hand, and it's 2 ops. So I can't deploy my troops into Iraq. In fact, I can't disrupt in Iraq either. I mean, that's too slow as well. Damn it. It looks probably like, well, let's just say, but we take back channel just for the 3 ops card. We do the reassessment with these 2 cards. This triggers. Play, if a non-Islamist rule country has a cell, replace the cell with any 2 available plot markers. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. Fortunately, we know that plots can only lose us the game if they're in the US, so they can't go in there. So okay, so we do that. Hang on till I put this situation back. So that's like that, right? So I play the 2 cards for my assessment. That's my turn over. Well, that's it. The same situation. My turn's over. Yeah, because that takes up the whole turn, the whole phase. So they recruit Major Jihad, game over. Yeah, so you've got to hope that they're not going to do that in their next turn. And what's the best solution then? If they don't do it next turn, and we are sitting over here, if we've done that with the Musharraf, I don't think that helps us. If we've done this with the back channel, we are able to avoid the martyrdom operation, but we're still sitting at soft. And then, but we've only got a 2 ops card left in our hand with that situation. To be honest, we could play it and draw a card, and if we got a 3 ops card, then deploy some troops. But that's in the hope that you draw a 3 ops card off the top. It's all just not quite there, isn't it? Feels like it's close, but whatever I do is going to require some luck. Yeah, so whatever I do is going to require some luck, but shouldn't I... The best option is to go reassess, isn't it? Because we know we're getting the troops back to the track. Yeah. Yeah, and also the problem there is when we do carry out the regime change, we've got to do it in Egypt. Because there's no point doing it in Pakistan if they're going to take Islam and show in Iraq. They've got 6 points. And we've got to get lucky. We've got to allow them a turn. In fact, is it more than one turn they're going to get? So hang on. Right, sorry, this seems a bit... I'm just trying my best here to see if I can do it. I hope nobody comes on and said, if you'd just done this, Grant, you would be fine. And explain to me. Or tell me that there's a card in the discard pile that I could have got. Well, I went over them again, and I still think... Yeah, I thought Musharraf was doing it for me, and it would have done if Iraq was only 2 resources, but because it's 3... Or if this other country that was under Islamic rule wasn't 3, but it is. So if I take back channel, we play that for assessment, that's our turnover. Let's just say they don't win. Sorry, this would be here. Right, we take back channel, we play the 2-3 ops cards. Martyrdom Operation triggers as well, but let's not bother about that. We assess back to hard. We've got a global war on terror penalty as well. They get unlucky, or we get lucky and they don't either recruit or they don't succeed with a major jihad. We move into our next turn. Yeah, I've not got the cards to do it, have I? No, you have. Of course you have. If you go that way, you then just... No, I don't. I can't regime change because I've not got the troops. No. Oh, this is horrific. Wow, this is a right puzzle. How many cards they got left, did I say? 3. Okay. I think I'm rewinding the Musharraf thing. I mean, even though it's a really good card, and I might go looking for it again at some point. But okay, so I think and it's not necessarily needing to be back channel, but I suppose it's the best one in the card. So I think I'm taking this instead. Right, but right, let's say I do that, right, and put these cards back in the discard pile, and I'm not going to reassess, but then that's then 2 turns they're going to get at this, Grant. And I just can't do it. What I thought was I would move these troops out of Somalia. Now hold on. Yeah, okay. There's no restriction to like moving them out. And move the 2 troops back to the troops track with 1 ops. No. Sorry. What I was thinking was playing Tora Bora for the event, removing the 2 cells in Central Asia, rolling prestige, drawing a card, okay, from a first card play. Now I'm going to draw a card, don't know what it's going to be. From a second card play, play this for 1 ops. It won't trigger the event because there's no cells left in Central Asia. And then deploy the 2 troops in Somalia back to the track. So then we've got 6 troops on the track. That's my turnover. They get to try and do that. They might well do it. Let's just say we get lucky and they don't. And then my next turn, reassess. They've got 1 card left. We need to get lucky again that they don't. We've got the 1 card left that we drew from Tora Bora, and we've still got 2 reserves. So it doesn't matter if it's a 1 ops card on. If it's a 1 ops card, we use the 2 reserves, and we've got the troops on the track. and we regime change in Egypt. But that requires 2 turns. Well, when I say 2 turns, it's 3 cards. Remember, the first turn will be these 2 cards, and then the last turn will be this 1 card. So that way we need to survive 3 cards. I think that's actually the best way to try and do it. That gives us the best chance, I think. But I'm wanting to think about it a little bit more. You'd be glad to hear. I'll pause though. Okay, I thought about another. Let's just see. I maybe didn't think this fully through. You know, I was saying about using back channel, playing it for the event, and discarding the martyrdom operation. But it's quite good for us to then guarantee that we shift Iraq to neutral and put 1 aid there. So that would be a 1 card play. But my second card play would have to be this: use the 2 reserves and War of Ideas from neutral to ally. Again, another a die roll there. So back channels automatic, that would move it to neutral for sure, and place the 8. Placing the 8 obviously helps with the die roll, so then we'd be sitting there. But however, that then leaves me with this card, only this card left. No ops and reserves, not enough to deploy troops into Iraq because I need a 3 ops card, right? So, what about we come back to covert action again? Unfortunately, this is a die roll. So, if we play this as our first card play, let's just say we get lucky, and this goes to neutral. We then you're going to have to play martyrdom operation, which is fine-ish. Or hang on. So that would be our first card play. So our second card play, well, let's just say we use martyrdom operation for 3 ops to do a War of Ideas roll. Again, this is a roll, and remember there's no aid. So that's 2 die rolls to get us to there. We then have, and then they get a turn. They get 2 card play. But remember, we're relying on 2 die rolls there. We've then still got the 2 reserves. We've still got these 2 cards. So we then are able to play this, use the 2 reserves or Tora Bora to deploy troops into Iraq. We've got 4 on the track. That's another way, but there's 2 die rolls there. One's a 50-50. The next one, I think would be a 50-50 as well, wouldn't it? Yeah. No, that's not even a 50-50. That's a 5 or a 6. The War of Ideas roll from neutral to ally would need a 5 or a 6. So that feels iffy as well, doesn't it? Because just the back channel uses the extra card up, although doesn't guarantee the War of Ideas roll the next card play, but however it does put 1 aid there as well to help with that. So then it is a 50, so it's 1 50-50 roll, isn't it? But again, still die rolls that could go wrong, and if they go wrong, then all this is screwed. It's up in the air. I think I've got to go with the reassessment option. Yeah, I think that's the best shot. We've got to survive their 3 cards, I think. Right, well, do you want to wrap this video up, Grant? Yeah. Oh, the rains came on again. It looked like it was brightened up. Mind you, it's maybe just a shower. Okay, right, okay. What a carry on. I was just thinking there might have been another slight possibility. I mean, I'm looking at removing these 2 troops back to the track from Somalia. I'd like to not do that if I could have avoided it. And I thought, there's 6 troops there if I'm moving the 2 cells back, but that only allows me to take 1 troop back, doesn't it? I still need to leave 5 because there's, from regime change. Must leave at least 5 more troops than cells. Well, there's no cells, but I need to leave 5 troops. Is that right? 5 more troops than cells. If there's no cells there, well, I'm just getting a headache with everything here, I think. There's 0 cells. Does that still mean I need to leave 5 troops if there's 0 cells? Why am I struggling to get my head around that? Because sometimes you do that, Grant. I would have assumed that if we remove these 2 cells, and we've got 6 troops there, then because it's regime change, I still need to leave 5 troops. Is that right? Deploy 7.3. Feels like I'm going down a stupid place again, I'm gonna deploy. Right. A deploy operation allows the US side to move any number of troops from any one location. Wait a minute. Right, I'm sure if he's quiet or not. Deploy operation allows US side to move any number of troops from any one location, including troops track, to another. Exception: troops may not deploy from a regime change country if it would leave fewer than 5 more troops there than cells. Oh, I've got a sore head, but why am I struggling to get I'm starting to think that because there's no cells there, I technically don't need to leave any troops. But that's not what I originally thought that to be. I thought that 0 cells there still means I need to leave 5 troops. Which feels like the way I've talked about it and played it before as well, but right, hang on. Okay, this was asked as a question: if there was 0 cells, does that then mean you can move your troops away freely? But no, it is answered that 0 cells, 5 troops is still what you need to leave. Whether I'm reading it or trying to explain it right or not, whatever. I mean, that's what I thought. It was just thinking about it there just now, thinking 5 more troops and cells if there's 0 cells. But I mean, 5 is still more than 0, so you still need to leave 5. Whenever there's 1 cell there, you then need to leave 6. I mean, there's 2 cells there at the moment, so technically I would need to leave 7 before I can move any other troops out. So if I remove both these cells, I can only remove 1 of the troops. So that doesn't help me either. Because I've got 4 on the track, I need 2 back there, and we are doing this before the end of the turn, Grant, yeah? Yeah, because I don't want them to play another 2 cards, so I have to do it before these go back. What was the other conditions for them going back? Oops. That was WMDs. Well, you know what? My martyrdom operation. Return them to the track immediately upon the play of Congress Acts, or if a WMD is resolved, or at the end of the draw phase in which a 3 resource countries Islamist rule. Well, they're not going to come back, Grant, are they? Well, if you wait till the end of the turn, they will, because that's the country you're going to target for your regime change. It needs to be Egypt, because we know that Pakistan's not going to save us. It's not enough resources to get back. Okay. I'm just thinking there is an actual chance that a WMD would be resolved here before the end of the turn, because martyrdom operation's probably going to trigger. But then again, I'm going to have to move my troops before doing that. Well, do you need to do that? Can't I do... Yeah, I can do it in other order. I can reassess first. That might give me the troops back then, if a WMD goes off. I know all that's bad, but as long as it's not going off in the US. So in that case, we reassess first. I've still got 2 reserves. There's going to be a couple of plots out there. They're going to go unblocked. They're going to go off. They're going to have 2 cards plays as well, which they might win. Then I come back to my next phase. The cells might be back on the track if a WMD's gone off. So that would allow me to actually just do the regime change right away, wouldn't it? Yeah. And I still have hang on, do the regime change. I need 3 ops. I suppose I was trying to avoid this going off, but maybe just use this with the reserve for the 3 ops to do the regime change then. Hits my prestige by 1, but my guess is that these plots going off are going to destroy my prestige anyway, quite possibly. It's probably going to be where there's troops and, yeah. Okay. This whole part has just been me pondering on what to do here, isn't it? 52 minutes. It has, isn't it? We didn't even play. Yeah, it was just about what card I was going to bring back. That's where we're sat. So this has just been me playing a phase, and I've still not actually played the card yet. Well, that's the best solution, Grant. Why was I not wanting to reassess first? I don't know. I could avoid that. I suppose kind of I do it the other way. I mean, all you're trying to do here is avoid moving the troops out of Somalia now. Somalia has only 1 resource, Grant. But then again, if they're sitting with Iraq, Pakistan, that's 5. That's another 1. But doing it this way doesn't allow me, I don't think, to play... Well, it would still allow you to play Tora Bora, but not before playing this and this triggering. That's a hit to my prestige. We've already said that's unlikely to matter. Just do it, Grant. I was just trying to work out where the martyrdom operation would go off. Use a pot priorities table for that. So it needs to be a non-Islamist rule country with a cell. Replace the cell with any 2 available plots. So you go, and in the events table it tells you to go down, and it specifically says pot priorities table. So you always get to try and do it in the US with this one, which is quite clear because you're not rolling for these plots. You're just replacing the cell with 2 available plots, and it's only 1 cell. So it could be the US with troops. It's either going to be Central Asia or Somalia. They're the only places with troops. And this is if you do it. Of course, you could remove the troops, couldn't you, Grant? Thing is, it's annoyingly going to pick Central Asia, I think. Because both of them have troops, so Pakistan, Philippines doesn't count. Most active cells is the next priority. And Central Asia has 1 active cell where Somalia does not. So right now, the martyrdom operation would go in Central Asia, and it would replace the active cell back to the track with 2 random plots. And then that would also mean that I can't play Tora Bora for the event if I wanted to, because there's then only 1 cell there. So another thing to think about if there wasn't enough to like bother me. So maybe I do it in the order Tora Bora, take the Somalia cells. Well, what would happen then for martyrdom operation? That's a good point. If we do it, if I play Tora Bora first, you're probably getting a bit fed up with this. And draw a card, take the 2 cells away, then play this. It's not playable as the event. Use the 1-ops to move these 2 troops back to the track. So then there's not troops in here, there's no cells in there. We then do the reassessment. So where's the martyrdom operation going to go? I don't know actually, because Central Asia's then no cells, and Somalia's then no troops. So no, because there's troops in Central Asia but no cells, so that would be no. What am I looking for? What, that would then make it Pakistan, would it? US with troops, mind you, unless prestige is won, which is possible because we're playing Tora Bora to roll prestige. However, there would then not be a country with cells and troops if I'd done it that way. So then it would be Pakistan, unless no arsenal, has not got an arsenal, so no. Philippines. Philippines, if would prestige -1. Yeah, I forgot about this. Abu Sayyaf. So that says place a cell in the Philippines. Right, it's obviously done that. While Abu Sayyaf is in effect, US may deploy there, and -1 prestige for each plot placed unless troops outnumber cells blocked by moral talks. So I can't. There's no cell there. Yeah, I can't. There's no cell. We need a cell. Sorry. Right, that takes that confusing part away. So we can do it in the Philippines. Where was that? Right there. Most active cells. So where would be the most... Well, it's going to be Pakistan then this time, surely. There's 6 there. So we would remove that and 2 plots would go in Pakistan that way. Which is slightly better for us, I think. The downside to all that is that I'm removing the troops from Somalia, but... And like I say, even though it's only 1 resource, it's enough to get a win. But it's neutral there. We can work on it. You know, I think we've got to... Look, Grant, come on, do it. Make the move. You can do it. Come on. Right, I'm going to play... No, I need to play Tora Bora first. Right, I'm going to play a card, okay? I'm going to play Tora Bora, I think, for the event. Right, what does it do? Right, 109, Tora Bora. What is it saying? 2001, as anti-Taliban militia backed by US airstrikes in late 2001 pushed Al-Qaeda fighters into the mountains of Tora Bora, Al-Qaeda obtained a temporary truce that, combined with probable rearguard actions, many believe allowed bin Laden to escape into Pakistan. An estimated 200 Al-Qaeda fighters died, but critics in the US and elsewhere saw the battle as a botched best chance to capture the leadership responsible for 9/11. So this can only be played. Play if at least... Right, sorry, Tora Bora, US traps Al-Qaeda fighters, but not leaders. Play if at least 2 cells in a regime change country. There are exactly 2 cells in Central Asia, which is regime change country. Remove the 2 cells, roll prestige, draw a card. Right, I'm doing it. Remove the 2 cells. So there's 3 cells on the track now. for them. Roll prestige and draw a card. Right, well, you're committing yourself this time, Grant, if you're doing it. Right, so we're going to roll prestige. So a 1 to 4, it's going to drop, and then we roll 2 dice. So we need a 5 or a 6. Come on. Oh, it was hovering over that 5. Right, so it's going to drop. What's it going to drop by? The lowest of these two. 1. Good. That keeps it there. So keeps it medium. Right, that was roll prestige. We're going to draw a card. And remember, this is going to be one of the new cards. So I've drawn that. Not looked at it yet. That's your first card play, Grant. You should really look at the card, shouldn't you? Right, let's see what we've got. I'll put it here. Shariah. Remove a disease regime marker. Place 1 awakening marker there or anywhere if there are no disease regime markers on the map to be removed. Remove a disease regime marker. Thing is, I think it's kind of irrelevant. I think I have to use this for the ops. Well, it might depend on what happens. Does it change what I'm going to do just now? No. For my second card play? No. To be honest, if it had been a 3-ops card, we could have maybe not played the martyrdom operation. Then again, I still think I would have had to play martyrdom operation at the end. Well, it's not a 3-ops card, Grant. Okay, just live with it. Right, okay, that's the first part of my plan. And Prestige didn't roll in our favour, however, we did just get a 1 hit out of it. Okay, so now, I'm now going to play this for the 1-ops. Now, it says play if a regime change country as a cell. The only regime change country we've got is Central Asia. There's no cells there, so it's unplayable. I'm getting the 1-ops. I've still got 2 reserves. And I'm going to use the 1-ops to do a deploy action operation. I'm going to move troops to the troops track, which is treated as good. So we only need 1-ops, which I've just played. And move any number of troops from one location on the board to the target. I'm going to take the 2 troops from Somalia. I'd love to have been able to take 2 from Central Asia, but that's how it goes. That goes in there. That goes in there. That's just got 6. That marker moves back to war. And we've got 6 troops on the track. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. It's not really fine, Grant. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was right or not. I don't know if that was right. Well, we've done it now. Okay. Right, and that's our 2 card plays for the turn. This was not played for event, however, Tora Bora was. So it was played for event, so it's removed. And the other card is that one is just discarded, right? Just want to make sure they're not some of the new cards and you know where to put them now. We'll be shortly none of them left anyway. Okay. Well, I think I'll keep you in suspense for the next part now. You'd be glad to hear that was an hour of me playing one phase. Now hold on, watch what you're doing, Grant. Okay. So the plan is to get lucky with their 2 cards and still have a chance to reassess next turn, then get lucky with their last card, and then carry out a regime change in Egypt. That's the plan. Saying that, that's not going to bring our troops back to the track then, is it? Well, so be it. Well, we've already said the martyrdom operation might well do that anyway. Because there's 4 WMDs up there out of the 10. And we're going to select 2 of them. So the odds are pretty good that we might get one. Not that that's a good thing, but... Okay, I hope that wasn't too drawn out. It probably was. Yeah, I'm going to take a chance now to take the dogs out. Hopefully the rain's going to stay off. I don't know, that took up quite a bit of time, so Yeah, I might not get back for a bit. Nah, I should maybe, but maybe later on. Maybe later on. Okay, well, we'll see how the end of this turn pans out, and it might just all end in tears quite shortly. So I'll be back in a bit. Cheers.